Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. I'd like to use these three coins to illustrate how the math for the heliocentric model can be conceived based on observations and the idea that mass plays a role in creating gravity. But that does not necessarily mean it's true, and it's perfectly acceptable to think outside of that when we understand how the math can be manipulated to bring about desired results. Science has always been about creating or arriving at one single formula or equation to describe the universe and how it all works, ignoring all the esoteric things that make life what it is. However, here we have a 10 baht coin, a 1 baht coin and a 25 satang coin. There are 100 satang in 1 baht, so this is the kind of like a quarter of the value of the 1 baht here. Okay, now it's worth pointing out that as well as Sir Isaac Newton being well known for creating a mathematical model that almost works for describing the solar system and the universe, he was also the head of the Royal Mint for a long time and was responsible for readjusting Britain's coinage to create coins that had uniform value, and so the powers that be could keep better track of their money and the people using them, their human resources. So, bearing that in mind, I propose that what Sir Isaac Newton did to coinage is the same thing that he did when talking about mass and gravity and the laws which are said to govern the workings of the solar system and the universe. Let's say this 10 baht is the sun, which in the heliocentric model has the Earth orbiting the sun, because the sun is that much more massive than the Earth, despite our observations that the sun and the moon appear to be the same size. However, the coin here has a certain value, 10 baht. So the sun in the mathematical equation is given a certain value. It must be massive enough to have all the gas which it is made up of, massive enough and dense enough to have enough gravity to pull a smaller Earth around, just based on the heliocentric concept, not necessarily observations, just the way the model is said to work. And so what we have here is coins that have been given a face value, 10 baht, 1 baht, 25 satang. It is not necessarily, although it might have been in the old days, to have the value of a coin relative to the coin's weight or mass. However, these days the mass of the coin does not necessarily dictate its value. It is just set by the mint and agreed upon by the general public that this is 10 baht, this is 1 baht and this is 25 satang, and you can buy certain things with those certain coins. So what we have here is applied face value to the coins, and when we have the sun having to be massive, we then can plug in equations which make it massive enough and far away enough to appear as small as the moon. It is purely mathematical concepts which are plugged in by giving the Earth and the sun certain values, even though we have no idea of the real mass of the Earth or the mass of the sun or the mass of the moon for that matter. They are all contrived from equations made to fit the model that has the sun massive enough to pull the Earth around. And of course there are many, many problems that come in with this concept. For example, with the moon apparently orbiting the Earth like this, what happens when the moon gets around here? How come it's not pulled in by the sun when it's closer to the sun? apparently the Earth manages to cling on to the moon in its orbit, even though it is going around that way. There are other things to think about that are complete fallacies with the heliocentric model. Here I've put a little piece of red Play-Doh on one side of the coin, and here we have a distant star that we are looking at in the heliocentric model. Here's the sun. So of course what happens is at night time, here's the sunlight side, here's the night side, when the Earth is over here and we are looking at a star up here in the sky, how come when we go around the sun 6 months later, our night side is facing that way, our daylight side is now facing this way towards the sun? How on earth is it possible for someone here on the night side to still be able to see a star that they could see when they were over here? It's impossible. That's one major fallacy of the heliocentric model, which really cannot be explained.